Hello and welcome to Midday Madness with Phee. We've got some technical difficulties today, so who knows if anybody can see me because these crazies have left Phee alone in the studio. That's not ever a good thing. They've been doing a little nickeling and a little diming. They've been tripping and tropping and trolling and treeing and flipping and flopping and flowing and feeing. So I don't have any idea if you guys are actually paying attention. We got cold coffee, as you can see, from my boy Terry at the Dadgum Bar. I'm looking for Jazzy J. I'm looking for anybody to come and sit down and play. I don't know what's going on. We've had some real chaos today. And as far as the Midday Madness is concerned, it's chaotic every single day when Manly Mark is on the prowl. This morning at the Feast Me show with Manly Mark, we had a very good time talking about skeletons and digging up artifacts and going to the Amazon. When you're dealing with Manly Mark, you just never know what direction he's going to take the show. From UFOs to Bigfoot, to all kinds of conspiracies that some of them just are as solid as a rock, like weather manipulation. The evidence is overwhelming. So if you stay tuned to Manly Mark, it is Midday Madness every day, but today especially is Midday Madness is crazy because we've got 3 or 4 folks going in 3 or 4 different directions. He's got other things that he's got to be doing today. And guess what? Everything's put on hold because we have to make sure that our priorities are right. And Manly Mark is very good at when it comes to making sure that he takes care of what needs to be taken care of. So he's indisposed. He'll be back, I'm certain. If not, we will conclude the show a little early today. You know, when he started, he was going 25 minutes, 30 minutes. I was saying, you need to extend the show. And he's like, well, I want to make sure everything that I talk about, every topic that I talk about is interesting. And I said, well, just bring more topics. So he's been talking an hour for the last week. He's getting a lot more views. Everything he talks about is very interesting. Even if you don't agree with everything, he tends to think out loud every scenario from every different side. Then he kind of funnels it down and tries to make a educated, I would say an educated opinion on most things. Very sharp, very intelligent, and he's definitely a creative intellectual. He's not a learned academician. He believes in putting his stamp on almost anything. And when you start talking about Manly, he was the president of in high school of the agricultural, I think it's FFA, so Future Farmers of America in the state. He was all-state cross country. Had opportunities to run cross country in college. So he's not as wacky. He says he's very robotic and not very good at sports, but anybody that can hike and climb and rappel and do all kinds of those things, he's got some athleticism to him, so don't let him fool you. Now, as far as shooting a basketball or throwing a football or baseball, I haven't seen him do that. And he actually thinks he can beat Phee at pickleball. And very few people could beat Phee at pickleball, and I only have one leg, so I can't go right, I can't go left, but I tend to be able to hit the ball where other people can't get to it. So I like to play them 2-on-1 at 60. It kind of levels the playing field for them. So can you imagine what I'd have done to those folks when I was younger and healthy? It would have been scary for me. I got 3 or 4 folks just blowing up my phone about playing golf. They're all waiting on me to play golf. They hadn't seen me play golf in over a week. I got sick for the first time in a couple of years, ran some fever, canceled my basketball for the whole weekend, and didn't get out of the house much. Got out, went to Walmart, and that heat hit me, and I felt real shaky and weak. And then I went to church Sunday and came home, and I didn't leave again. So I felt much better Sunday night, and back just feeling great now. And here it is Wednesday at a little after noon. So thank you guys for tuning in to Midday Madness with Manly Mark. We don't have any conspiracy theories to talk about yet today, but when he walks in, he's allowed to be talking about the Federal Reserve. Trump wants to fire the our lady that's dealing with the central bank here in America. So there's all kinds of things behind the scenes that go on every day that Manly is very, 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 very in tune with, including transgenders that represent governments in Ukraine, which he thought that was surprising that I wasn't aware of that. And for some reason, we have Chinese currency in businesses in Arkansas, which is very surprising to me. And we also have AI-generated child pornography that depicts people and individuals in that community. That's very alarming to me also. So the more that I see this deception that's everywhere, the more I get in depth with things that I would have never paid any attention to before 2023. Just had no interest whatsoever in playing in those sandboxes or that arena. I thought I played in a lot of arenas growing up, from the SEC to the FCC, movie business, insurance, investments, but I just never played in the arenas that Manly tends to he tends to stay in. And boy, he's got a fine looking young baby. Jude was here today. He's just solid as a rock, and a beautiful, beautiful child. And that he has three, and Jude is his youngest. So all of them under the age of 5. He showed me a picture of them all together today. Beautiful children, a beautiful wife. So as crazy as you think Manly Mark is, he's about as sane as you can possibly be, and a great husband and a phenomenal father. So don't want you just to think that there's only one side to him, because he's multifaceted. He's got a lot of layers to him, a lot of layers, and he's very intelligent on a lot of different subjects. So he has a wide variety of things that he's been spending 10 years studying and in depth. But can you imagine him growing up as Indiana Jones? And I can't imagine anybody wanting to dig around in 200-year-old bodies to look for fillings of somebody's teeth or some jewelry. But the boys, I think he's a closet archaeologist. He's definitely a adventurer. So he loves to hike, and he hadn't been hiking. We wanted to do a hiking show with him, send him out for about 4 days on the road, and let him get back in those trails and enjoy nature. What he likes most about it is setting up his camp. He wants it to be very aesthetically pleasing. So I'm sure that the lights will be glowing, and he has a hammock that he's very particular in the way he sets up. And of course, he enjoys the campfire, so he spends a lot of time preparing that. So my idea of a campfire is to throw some gasoline on some logs and stand back as I throw a match to it. But he has a little more sophisticated way of starting that campfire, and he goes into real detail with it till after about 30 minutes I'm asleep, because I don't think you can spend 30 minutes explaining to me how you want to set up your camp, but he does. And it's a glowing rendition of nature when he tells it. It's a beautiful, beautiful experience for him. Very self-fulfilling and very peaceful. And what I think about when I think about camping is bugs, snakes, insects, either too hot or too cold. And so my idea of camping would be go out and see some waterfalls, and then go on back to the hotel room and enjoy my evening. So there's the difference. Of course, I'd be watching football, basketball, or or if it was baseball playoffs, I'd be watching that. So I don't think he's going to turn on the TV for any sports ball, as he says. Can you imagine sports ball? I've heard of pickleball, I've heard of football, baseball, basketball, but don't know where the sports ball is. But I like the term. That's a Manly Mark term, and I think he thinks that people who watch sports are just entertained, entertaining the masses, and putting them to sleep in front of the TV, to where as long as they're cheering and happy and excited, they don't really know what's going on in the world. So that's the difference in the two of us. I could watch football 12 hours a day, and he wouldn't watch it for 12 minutes without pulling his hair out, which he's worried about it falling out anyway. He's got beautiful locks of hair, and I keep telling him, if you take that hat off and get some oxygen in there, you wouldn't have to worry about your hairline. So I think his hair is fine, but he wants to fix that hairline right there up front. He says he wants a juvenile hairline, and so I said, well, Manly, you're not a juvenile anymore. He'll be 30 this year, and so I think it's a couple of months away from being 30. He looks real good for 30, very fit. He doesn't have an ounce of fat on him. So, and he's constantly working. He's planted so many blueberry, blackberries, bushes. He's got trees that he's planted. And some of them, it takes him up to 30 days to figure out where he wants to plant them. He'll say, well, I've got 2 trees on my front porch, but I haven't decided where to plant them yet. And I'm like, how long is it going to take you to decide? Are the trees going to die on your porch before you decide where to plant them on your property? So there's the difference. I wouldn't dig a hole to plant a tree. I'd have a difficult time with a shovel with my knee. You got to push down in order to get that to dig. And so yard work and Phee is kind of like night and day. Plus my brother he used to be very overweight, and when he was about 42, 43, he really got in an exercise program and was in the best shape of his life. And then he was mowing the yard in July of 2023, and just dropped dead of a heart attack. So I'm not much of a yard man. My father, he was an agri major. He loved manicuring yards. I was allergic to about every tree and grass, so anytime that he wanted me to mow the yard, I'd rather clean 10 pools than mow 1 yard. But some people really love yard work, and they like to have the work in the flower beds and pull the weeds, and I'd much rather be vacuuming the swimming pool when I could get in it and play. But the worst thing about what I would have to do, my father would cut the hedges, and I would have to pick up the hedge clippings and I put them in bags. And by the time I was just 5 minutes in, my eyes would be watering, my snot would be running out of my nose, I'd be sneezing. I mean, no exaggeration, 50, 60 times out there. Never bothered him a bit. He didn't feel the least bit sorry for me. He just continued to tell me to pick up the hedges and mow the yard and clean the flower beds. And so I have a real distaste for yard work, and so I would tell you that I break as many lawn mowers a year as I would buy. I think I've probably bought 20 lawnmowers in my life, and I've probably broke 20. So it's much easier for me to pay somebody to mow the yard. And I've got a friend that he absolutely loves mowing yards. He can make a living, and some of these folks are making $100,000 a year mowing yards. They got the right equipment. It doesn't take them that long, and they've got big yards, expensive homes, and you get 30 or 40 of those. And then a lot of companies have decided that they're in the lawn care business, but that's what they call a seasonal business. So in the wintertime, they put up decorations and lights for Christmas decorations. So they're trying to find other ways to to supplement their income year round rather than just have a 5 months a year be able to mow the yards. But Manly Mark is a yard guy, not much of a construction guy, I can tell you, as he's ruined one, two, three, four, five, 6 doors of mine in the closets chiseling. And I think he just likes to chisel. He's a woodworker, but I don't think you want him up on roofs and building trestles and that type of stuff. Manly he needs to be in front of the camera, and he needs to be working with this editing machines. He tends to enjoy that, and the more he does, the better he gets at it. So I'm very impressed with the way he can seamlessly move from one area to another with very little experience whatsoever. And so I'm very thankful for him, and I hope he's having a decent day because he's been running everywhere. He was supposed to take his son to a pediatrician appointment today for a wellness visit. He missed that appointment by an hour, and he was supposed to drop off his son earlier. That didn't happen. Now he's supposed to be taking his son and then coming back here by noon, and told me before he got back, if I don't get back, Phee, just go ahead and take care of it. So that's what I'm doing. I hope you guys are having a good time with it. I'm sitting in the pub. The pub's always empty, and of course with this coffee and this food, I can understand why. But for some reason, Manly Mark likes this pub, and Terry must have some type of news on Mark that Mark doesn't want anybody else to know. But I love the bar. He doesn't want to call it a bar, but he wants to call it a pub. So it's a very nice pub. I love the woodwork. I love the stools and the lighting. And then I like the Midday Madness with Manly Mark, all those M's that are up there in that square. So I like that. One thing that I don't understand, he is a big freak on this the coffee cup. I don't see anything special about that coffee cup except it's small. He likes his coffee cup that small because he says you want to sip coffee and you don't want it to get too cold before you get through. I'm more of a guzzler. I don't sip a lot of things. I never have. So that never did real well with me. If I'm supposed to let it make a glass of wine last 30 minutes, I'm drinking three glasses of water with that glass of wine. So, but he can sit here and sip the same cup of coffee all day, and I've already filled my drink up 4 times. So, of course, I go to the bathroom a lot more than he does too. His kidneys. Sooner or later, you just got to say, "Can you quit talking a little bit while Phee can go to the bathroom? I'll be right back after I pee." And he says, "Okay." Or he'll follow me there right to the door and then talk to me outside the door when I'm peeing. So when he's got something on his mind, he aims to get it off, and right then, or he'll forget it because his mind is so fast and so sharp in so many different areas that it's almost as if you would think he's scatterbrained, but in reality, he's just filing those in separate files along the way. And before you know it, he can pull them right back up and recount them pretty good. Today he had Teddy Roosevelt dying in the Amazon. I thought that was good. Then when he read the story, he said he almost died. So again, one word in a sentence normally will change. Kind of like just one letter on a phone. If you just dial every number correct except one, you don't tend to get to the party that you're trying to connect with. So and on the internet, it's the same thing there. You type in a website and just miss the spell it by one word one letter, and you don't get to go to the place you want to. So have you ever been driving and been lost? Men are really bad about driving and losing their place or not knowing where they are and then acting like they still know where they are, and they don't want to get to GPS, or they don't want to take directions or stop and ask somebody, so they just keep thinking that they are going to get back on track. Well, a lot of times you get further off track if you don't realize and acknowledge the mistake to where you can actually fix it, get back on the road, and know the correct directions and actually get to the destination. So I hope he gets to his destination and back at some point today. I'm sure he will, but we never know with Manly Mark because, again, he likes to air up his tire every morning as part of his daily routine. I think it gets him outside. He gets to think while the little zzz is filling up his tire, and he's sitting beside it. And I think he really collects his thoughts while he's out there. I think he would have been the kind of guy that would have liked to smoke a pipe or a cigar, setting out and drinking a cup of coffee. That if he would have been in the 1950s, 1960s, I think that would have been his perfect era. He thinks his perfect era would have been, the dadgum Civil War type of ages. Can you see Manly Mark in an old uniform out there with a beard and mustache with his curly locks as a Confederate soldier? I think that would have been something that he would have really, really chilled with. He would have been happy. But Phee, I enjoy living in the era that I live in. I like air conditioning, and I like comfort. I like jacuzzis. I love water and waterfalls. So I don't like roughing it. My idea of roughing it is just sleeping at the Holiday Inn Express. That's my idea of roughing it. But he likes to get out there. And he's been on 10-day and 2-week hikes where he doesn't see civilization and fills up his water, his canteens and stuff at the waterfall and the streams. So catches his own fish and then cleans them and eats them right there on the side, or takes his little gun and shoots his rabbit and skins it and eats it there out there, or a squirrel. And he talks about the difference in the gray squirrel meat and the red squirrel meat. I've had squirrel, and it tastes like it's dark meat. I've had rabbit, so I just don't know the difference in that. I just soon have a bucket of chicken. So, but the rabbit's not bad, squirrel's not bad. I didn't like bear. I didn't like snake. I certainly thought that possum was too greasy. But there are some wild game that I enjoy. I've always liked duck, and I've never had a good pheasant before, and I've spent way too much money on lamb and pheasant, and never really even liked it enough, even as much as just a grilled chicken breast, and you're paying $30 and $40 a plate for pheasant, and you don't get near enough to for me on that plate. Pheasants are big birds. You'd think you'd get a nice portion, and I just never have had it cooked right, or it's just not that good. And I've had it at some of the finest restaurants that's around. And I had a glazed lamb with the rosemary mint from Tavern on the Green in New York, and it was like $60, and I took about 3 or 4 bites of it and was like, where's my pork chop? I just soon have a pork chop. So I either haven't eaten it right. Mark really likes lamb, and he eats a lot of lamb, but I can't remember if I've ever had goat before. So I'll just stick with the beef and the chicken. I love seafood, but I can't eat oysters anymore, and that was my favorite. I don't eat fried seafood. All my kids like this calamari fried. I don't want to eat that, but I love shrimp, and I love crab, love oysters, and I love a lot of different seafood or fish that come from the ocean. So the yellowfin tuna is phenomenal, and swordfish is good, snapper's good. So I like fish, and my favorite type of fish to eat is crappie. If you fry some crappie up with some onions and French fries and hush puppies, boy, I tell you, a lot of people eat coleslaw with it. Never been a coleslaw fan. Never been a potato salad fan. but that's because when I was young, I went to my elementary school was Richland Elementary School, and they served coleslaw, and it was as nasty as you would ever could ever imagine. And so, uh, first through sixth grade was not something that I wasn't going to eat coleslaw. So the only time I like coleslaw is on barbecue sandwiches because I'm from the Memphis area and love barbecue sandwiches with coleslaw on it. But eating it by itself, just not for me. But now potato salad, everybody in my family loves potato salad, and I love potatoes anyway, and I can eat potato salad. But to me, I like hot potatoes. Whether they're baked or scalloped or mashed is my favorite. But as cold potatoes, I like mayonnaise, but some people put some different weird stuff in potato salad. So, um, my best friend and business partner has passed away in 2021. He really bragged about his potato salad, and I could barely eat it. So if you make a good potato salad that I can actually eat and enjoy, that would be a real test, because that would be the worst way I would eat potatoes. But everybody else in my family loves potato salad, and my grandmother used to make it, my mother used to make it, and they'd have it a lot. But I would just kind of the coleslaw and the potatoes, I would just kind of steer away from. It's kind of like how good beets are for you. Beets are phenomenal for you, and my good friend that passed away in 2021, he loved beets, and I didn't like the taste of beets. So I do take a beet gummy now because of if you can get your apples and beets and carrots, there is some real benefits to a half an apple and a cup of beets, and 4 or 5 little sticks of carrots every day for your health. That's called an ABC, with the apples, beets, and carrots. But there's several things that I never really had a taste for cottage cheese until I got sick, and then all of a sudden, watermelon and cottage cheese was something that I could eat when I couldn't eat hardly anything else. And so I really started loving cottage cheese and watermelon together. Two of the things that I don't eat that I really miss, besides oysters, is tomatoes and almonds. And the lectins in almonds and tomatoes are not good for the lining of your stomach or your intestines, and so that causes cuts, and then you have inflammation. And in my current situation with kidney and liver and skin diseases, those are the type of things that I need to stay away from. So, yeah, tomatoes, I really miss them. I loved them all my life, from as long as I can remember, and so I could eat them anyway. Mayonnaise and tomatoes, bread and tomatoes, salt and pepper. You got to have a lot of salt. I've always put a lot of salt on all my food, so I highly recommend the pink Himalayan salt. So that's not a third glass and a third sand and a third iodine salt. So if you're, some people like the Celtic salt, but I'm more from a cellular level. I think the pink Himalayan salt is the best salt out there. So thank you guys today for tuning in. I know that I'm not Manly Mark. I am Phee, and I am in today for him. It is currently 12:33. I was checking to see if Manly had texted me. Again, I can do it all day. So you guys, if you have any questions, Jerry says, we can see you. Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate that. And Jerry, thank you for tuning in last night to my show. I appreciate that. Mark told me today I need to be looking at the time in there, and I normally don't look at the screen. I've got a huge 90-inch TV that fills this whole wall, so I'm looking at the camera, and then I look up and I see that you've commented. So thank you if you have any questions, Jerry, you're welcome to ask them. But thank you for tuning in. I'm sure you tuned in to see Manly during this time, but he is out and about and not yet back, taking care of his youngest boy, Jude. and what a beautiful boy he is. So thank you for tuning in, and Jessica, I saw you last night too, and Jessica's been helping me on my insurance again, as for some reason, when they think you're going to die and they give you some insurance that's not worth a nickel, and then all of a sudden you live for 3 years, they starting to bill you for everything. And Fee's he's not real excited about doing that. So he's been to the insurance company. He's been to their office. They've refiled stuff. Jessica's been very helpful with that, and they still don't get anything done. So I don't think the right hand knows what the left hand's doing in a lot of cases. But Fee's kind of stubborn when it comes to that. When they give Phee the rules, I play by the rules. When you want to change the rules, then Phee tends to have a problem. Much better at it now, though. I have a much better attitude. I'm much more patient than I used to be when it comes to those type things, and I don't let a lot of things bother me now. I just tend to find a way that will work for all parties involved, and if it doesn't, then the other parties will tend to shy away from Phee, because I kind of dig my heels in the sand in just a sweet, kind, loving way. But there's no reason for me to start paying $2,000 for a procedure that they've done 4 times, and I've never been charged a dime. So again, we'll either work it out or we won't, but it won't be because Jess hadn't tried, and it won't be because Phee hadn't been down to the office a couple of times. It'll be because whoever's on the phone at this end keeps telling this end everything's going to be fine, and then weeks and months go by and nothing ever changes. So I don't know if you guys are finding that out, and almost everything that's supposed to be streamlined and more efficient is harder and more complicated. It took me from June the 19th to August the 7th to get a driver's license. It wasn't like I wasn't down there 3 or 4 times, and I didn't have to wait for a meeting, trying to get a new Social Security card for a driver's license that wasn't even expiring until 2028. So I don't know how all that works, except that I think you should have been done in an hour, and instead it was 2 months. So the efficiency of today's world, rather than walking in, seeing a human, talking to a human, having a human solve your problems, and say thank you and leave, those days just don't happen anymore. Now you talk to the phone, press 1 for this department, 2 for this department, 3 for this department, 4 for this department, 5 for this department, 6 for this department. Or you can hold on. Estimated waiting time is 17 minutes, and I don't understand it. I don't understand it. How much money are they saving for the secretary not to answer the phone, or the receptionist not to answer the phone and say, "This is so-and-so, how can I help you?" Just seems like it would be very, very, very easy, but it's not. I was in Walmart the other day with the old, scan and checkout, and I had 2 things in my hand. They were 79-cent rolls of paper towels, and so when I ran them through, I ran this one through, but I actually put it in the bag. I had to separate the bag. I had another one in, and I separated it, and the cameras thought I was trying to steal 2 of them and only pay for 1, so it shut the machine. The lady had to come over, and I said all I did was open the bag with this one and put it in, but so she just hit a couple of buttons, and I started zipping it away again. But those are the type of things that people now are used to using, self-checkouts. And before long, China just opened a full mall with nothing but robot employees. No humans in the mall helping in any store. Every employee is a robot in China. They've got robots now running marathons. They've got robots now hitting golf balls, making hole-in-ones based on the plane and all the computer calculations of the ball and the wind. And so it won't. I mean, they're fighting. They're martial arts. They've got them, and you're just gonna continue to see that as they continue to put skin on them. You're not gonna be able to tell the difference in them. And the generation that you're seeing now, you can actually tell the fragments, and you can actually tell the difference of the speech patterns. But they've already got it out there now to where you couldn't tell it. They just haven't shown you about that yet. But they will. They will when it's advantageous for them to do so. You know, Mark put out a show yesterday. It really showed a astronaut that had a man bothering him, really badgering him outside of a hotel about putting his hand on the Bible and to swear that he had been to the moon. A lot of folks think that all this moon landing was fake. I always went on the opposite end of the spectrum. I figured they'd landed on the moon several times before they actually broadcast it, because those little boys at NASA, they're brainiacs. They really like to be make sure that before they start telling other people that they know that they can do it. So I thought, you know, though they probably landed there, they probably knew what they could do, and but all these new reports of they never even went to the moon. Makes you wonder how they're going to get to Mars if they can't get to the moon. So that's eye-opening to me, because I have no desire to go into space. I've never had any desire to go into space, and I'm certainly not going and moving to Mars, because the overpopulation of the Earth and its resources are diminishing, and its climate change is going back to an ice age, and there's a $25,000 every 25,000 years there's another, you know, ice age, and we're approaching that. And you've got a whole lot of manipulating of information and entertainment, and you've got a whole lot of folks out there that are deceiving the public. So if they actually staged a moon landing back in 1969, I can remember. I believe I was in the first grade. I started the first grade at 4, and that would have been 68. 69, I might have been in the second grade, but they actually pulled us out of class, put a black and white television on a stand, and we sat in rows in the hallway of the elementary school and watched that. And I remember it. And I remember the night that Martin Luther King was shot. My father got me up and told me to come and set me on his lap and told me that I was going to have to deal with this racial problems all of my life, and that I needed to know about it now, and that it happened in Memphis, Tennessee, which is about that hotel was about 10 miles from my home on the other side of the Mississippi River. So, I've lived for the invention of I think the year I was born, they came out with color televisions. So, and the microwave oven, as far as cable television. Back when I was a little boy, we had little antennas on the house, and I can remember my father getting up on the house and trying to turn the antenna while we could get a TV station out of Jonesboro, because Arkansas was playing on one network that we couldn't get because we had all the Memphis affiliates, and they were showing the SEC game. Like, Ole Miss was playing LSU, and my father wanted to watch Arkansas play Texas A&M, and so he was up on the roof. I was probably 6 or 7 years old, and he was up there trying to turn the antenna and to get to a TV station in Jonesboro, which is about 60 miles from West Memphis. So, a lot of crazy things that I've seen in life because of my age, and a lot of improvements. But think about my grandmother. She actually went from Camden, Arkansas to Mark Tree, Arkansas. Took them 6 days by a covered wagon, and a team of horses and a covered wagon. 6 days to go from Camden, Arkansas to believe it was Monette, Arkansas, not Marktree. But times have changed. Before she passed away, she lived 90 years, 8 months, and 3 days. And I heard 90 years, 8 months, and 3 days many, many times because my mother was determined that she was going to outlive her mother. And so she would say, I've got to live 90 years, 8 months, and 4 days. So she didn't make it that long. She made it to 89 and a half. So she didn't beat my nanny, but that was her goal always. But can you imagine living in the same era to where you were in a covered wagon with a team of horses, taking 6 days to go about 3 hours in a car, maybe 4 hours in a car. And before my grandmother had passed away, she had flown to California and back on a plane. So can you imagine being a little girl in a covered wagon, on a 6-day trail, and then before you died to be able to fly to California and back? I had relatives in California that were my grandmother's brother, and so that their family, and Uncle Bolly, and was the older gentleman, and then we went out and saw Knott's Berry's farms and the Painted Desert, and of course Disneyland. But I remember that as a little boy. But I think it's pretty cool that she was actually in a covered wagon with a team of horses at one point in her life, and another point she was actually on a plane flying to California and then flew back. So, whatever area you live in, it tends to, whatever environment you're in, whatever culture you're raised in, that tends to be what you believe and what you know. So all these little kids that grow up in Iran and Afghanistan and India and Pakistan and the Congo and Africa, they've all got different cultures, and they're raised in an environment, and if they're taught to hate something, then they hate something because they think that's the right thing to do. When in reality, it's not their fault until they get to the age where they can actually distinguish. Well, maybe this is not right. Saying a lot of people in the United States, they grew up with people that were racist, and I think hatred and racism is a learned act. I don't think that when you're born that you inherently hate something else because it doesn't look like you. I think that's taught by people that you love and respect, and so that's what you believe, and it really affects as far as different cultures and societies when you look at it like that. And most of the people that are in power, they don't reflect the common people and citizens of their country most of the times. They're just victims of their circumstances. So that is something that, from a society standpoint, and a sociology standpoint, and a psychology standpoint, when it's all intertwined, you can see how it's difficult for some people to get along with other folks. And they've been having wars since the beginning of time, and they're going to have wars to the end of time. So I do appreciate you guys today tuning in to Midday Madness with Manly Mark. He's not here, so Phee is substituting in for him. And if he gets back in here early enough today, he might want to come back on air, and we can just discard this and let him do his show. And if not, he can put it up and enjoy it and see how much better he is than Phee on his platform. So thank you guys. Make sure you tune in tonight for Night with Phee at 9 p.m. And God bless you guys, and I look forward to seeing